Hello. Well, I just got in the mail some rock I ordered, 5 pounds of 2 different types of rock, and I thought I'd look at it with you and maybe we'll choose something to polish. Not in a real protective envelope, but they are rocks. This stone here, at least on the website, is called Kabamba Jasper. It doesn't look like jasper to me at all. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of some green swirls in there, and almost looks like it's a stromatolite or something of that origin. Rather limestone looking. It'll be interesting to see how this cuts and polishes. But that's not my real interest. I just got that because it was cheap. Only $1.99 a pound. This bag has what prompted me to make this order. Little pieces of Chrysoprase. You can see how there are veins of it running through another matrix. A lot of it's not terribly high quality. But then again, it wasn't very expensive either. I kind of like that piece. Looks like it's solid in there. It's not a real dark green throughout with some lighter tones, but let's put that aside. There's some nice green on that one. Well, there's not very much of it. It's mostly matrix. That's the problem of buying bulk of lower quality. You have to eat quite a bit to find a few good pieces. There's a nice piece right there. It's rather thin, but that can be turned into some smaller pieces. I think we'll set that aside as well. A nice piece with kind of a lime green. It's not a clear Chrysoprase, which is your higher quality, but I bet you that would make a nice little cap for something. So why don't I start off by working this down and see what it turns into. That'll be a fun start of this project. Alright, let's try it out. So here are the better pieces from that 3-pound purchase. So I'll probably spend some time working this whole batch. But first I mentioned that I would probably do this little piece here, which is a light green. Probably can't see that with the lighting. But since these are all small pieces and not suitable for cutting on a saw, I'll be roughing these in on my diamond wheels. Alright, like I said, I'll be working this piece on my lapidary wheels here. These are diamond wheels. This is an 80 grit and a 200 grit, and I'll be working back and forth. What I have to do is grind away this matrix so I can see what's the best way to approach turning this into a nice cap. I've worn through some of the matrix and it's still pretty rough, but I'm going to also work the sides a little bit and keep getting this whittled down to something that looks like it'll work for me. So I still haven't decided which is going to be the top or bottom, and I won't know for sure until I get some more of this matrix cleaned up. So I'm going to choose this to be the bottom, because even if that's not cleaned up much more, that's still going to be okay for the bottom. And this little gap right there can be cut out as I create the curve on the edge there. Alright, it's coming. It's ending up being flatter than I'd like, but I still have quite a bit of matrix. I was hoping to get a pure stone without, any of the matrix showing, but it doesn't look like that'll be possible. So at this point, I think I will put it on the dop so that I can get a little bit better control of the curvature. Well, I have this dop stick here, and I'm going to get it ready to receive that one piece that I was working on with you, plus a few others at the same time that I did subsequently. So I'm just getting the wax hot so it'll receive the stone. Getting a nice little flat area for it. So I've attached the stone. Make sure it's flat and level and centered. Okay. All right, I didn't have the camera on for the finishing off the 200 and 220 grit, and I just finished working the 600 grit right here, and I will now go on to the 800, then the 1200, the buffing pad, and then on the other side of the machine is a buffing wheel, which will finish it off. Looking good. Moving on. Alright, there is the buffing pad, which I use aluminum oxide right now. So we'll do that next. I do this at a lower speed. Get it wet with some water. Add a little more of the aluminum oxide. Alright, now to the buffing wheel. This is the green Zam that I use. And you can see the really nice polish we have on that. Now, time to take these off the dop stick. I'll do that by letting them sit in the freezer for 15 minutes, half an hour, and they'll pop off the wax. Alright, there is the final stone that we worked through, sitting on top of a piece of rough. You know, it's not the highest quality, but it still makes a nice stone. If you look at some of these, here are some of the other stones that I put out, and you know, they're pretty nice. Probably my favorite one is this one here. It's a very solid piece and a very nice milky green. I quite like that one. I also kind of like this one. The matrix running through it with the veins, you know, almost makes it look like a piece of turquoise. You could probably make a nice pendant or piece of jewelry out of that. This one here was interesting only because it was almost pure white, and I think the venation in that also contributes to its nice look. Earlier I had some higher quality Chrysoprase, and you can see the difference in the intensity of the color. You can see that there's a lack of impurities. Very, very nice. But this is even more expensive, and there are even higher grades than this. But overall, Chrysoprase is a fun rock to work with. Would I do it again? For sure, with the stone, or that type of stone. I think I might try to get some higher quality, just because it still takes the same amount of time, whether it's low quality or high quality like this over here.